Good evening, welcome to Focus on Liberia. I am the West African correspondent, Amara. Welcome to the latest news update on the continent. Focus on Liberia uses this particular opportunity to bring to you the latest news on the continent, breaking news, economic news, political news, and other emerging issues. Feel free to share the stories, participate, and we also like your comments at the end of the day because the comment motivates us to see how the program is being watched at. It also help us to maybe analyze our performance or other things. Today we have a series of stories into the program, and some of them are actually very important because they tell us what the continent, they tell us about the narratives of the continent, things that are actually happening, things that should be happening, and maybe whatsoever gains the continent is actually making. So this particular program is so useful. It comes to us with things that we want to hear and things that are actually happening on the continent that are definitely not gingering to us what we call development, understandability, progress, and maybe sanity. First, let's see. Right group condemn the oil project in East Africa. The United States wide group is actually condemning the oil project that is set to undertake place or to take place by an 8 billion oil project that is set to take place between Tanzania and Uganda. They are saying because of biodiversity, climate change, the type of global warming, and also the display of people in certain parts of Uganda that maybe we not, the people, they are definitely claiming that if this oil project is to take place by a Chinese company, that have signed it, the people, over 70,000 people have been unlawfully displaced, and those people have not been given the opportunity to relocate, and also their safety is not being discussed, and also the oil project may endanger the life of certain species, and also it will contribute to global warming, which Africa is definitely not yearning for. However, President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, who has been in power into Uganda since 1986, have defied the particular mentality of those in the United States and other right group into the country by claiming that Uganda needs the oil project, including Tanzania, for the progress and development of Ugandans and Tanzania, and that people in the West are just sitting down to dictate what happens into Africa when they are not actually contributing. If they really want the oil project to stop, then they should also compensate Ugandans and Tanzanians with adequate things that may be able to sustain their life. But the oil have been discovered and they are about to undertake that 8 billion oil plant project that will definitely help to connect to places like Tanzania and Uganda, and then they are condemning it and they haven't given them any tangible solution. So they are saying they are going to undertake the project, and whatsoever consequences they will have to bear it in the future. So we also still stick in East Africa. IGAD wants to send troops into East Africa to quiet down the 3-month war between Tanzania, between the Sudanese Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese Army. The Sudanese Rapid Support Forces, or the paramilitary forces, or the Janjaweed militia, are led by General Dagalo al-Shabab is leading the Sudanese National Army. However, they are saying that because of the perpetual war into the Sudan, they found it very difficult how East Africa can come together and support those forces into northern Sudan, because the war is taking place. All dastardly acts have been committed. Women have been raped. Different people have suffered. Human rights organizations have come under attack. Humanitarian organizations have come under attack, and series of other heinous crimes have been committed. The world is sitting and watching all of those heinous crimes being committed. So now IGAD is saying they want to send their troops into Sudan, northern Sudan, to see how they can quieten down the situation. Unfortunately, since East Africa has its own warring faction, and because certain disunity and even the two warring factions into the country, that is the Janjaweed militia, the Rapid Support Forces, and the Sudanese army, mean definitely not entertain such idea, because the Sudanese army led by General Abu even accusing the Kenyan government of not serving a neutral role into the entire affair. So they do not want IGAD to be involved into the army, which may end up to escalate situation. So that situation is so dangerous, and I think East Africa need to sit down and see how they can solve the continuing situation on the country, because Sudan has suffered since 3 months ago, and a lot of women have been killed. There's no development project going on the continent, in that part of the continent. And at the same time, women have lost their life, people are being raped, people are being killed. Unfortunately, the world is just watching, because Africa is being left into certain situations where we have to paddle our own canoe. This is why sometimes we find it very difficult when we see Africans going on another part of the world to say they are going to solve world crisis. So let's see, we come into Tunisia. Tunisia halts the payment of 70,000 teachers. The government of Tunisia, led by President Kais Saied, have definitely put to stop or halted the payment of 17,000 teachers, and even went ahead to sack over 50 principals. They are claiming that the teachers refused to participate to release exam grades, claiming that their salaries were not increased and they are not being paid in time or on time. On that backdrop, the government of Kais Saied have retaliated by sacking 17,000 teachers from government payroll, and also sacking 50 principals, and they are threatening to even sack more if they do not release the grades. They are saying the teachers do not want to sympathize with the current situation that the country is facing. The country is facing global inflation, climate change. There is the effect of what? Of COVID-19. And at the same time, the instability created by Kai's side by sacking the parliament, handicapping the executive, appointing his yes men into parliament, all of those situations, and even the reprisal or attack being faced by people of color into Tunisia, especially the sub-Saharan Africans, are under serious oppression, attack, and all of those things. So they are saying that if the teachers refuse now to release grade, in short year, they want to compound the situation. So that has resulted into the sacking of 17,000 government-paid teachers, and at the same time 50 principals, and still more are to be sacked if they cannot recount their action and maybe comport to the government demand. We come into Kenya. Kenya court frustrates government plans to raise taxes. In Kenya, the courts in Kenya has actually refused to support the government action to raise taxes on fuel and other commodities into the country. It claims that living conditions into the country are so dire, and that has actually been supported by the frequent demonstrations led by the opposition leader Raila Odinga and other well-meaningful Kenyans, and even those who supported President William Ruto in his campaign also joined the protest, because they are saying when it comes to the hiking of prices of food and other commodities into the country, it's not only those who supported Raila Odinga or William Ruto are going to suffer. It is going to have a general effect on the entire populace. So the court is saying that demonstrations have seen an amalgamation of both ruling parties, supporters, and the supporters of the opposition party coming together to stage a serious demonstration of protest on the continent against the government intentions to maybe increase the prices of food on the continent. If that is the case, the court has decided that the government should not proceed to increase the taxes of food and other commodities on the continent, and that government should first seek the consent of Kenyans. And if there is any other if there is any other increment into the prices, it needs first to be decided by the parliament, and every others who are definitely involved into the issue should come to a full negotiation. It is unfortunate that even President William Ruto, with the entire support that is gained, because in the recently conducted election, we saw massive people supporting him, but in his recent move to increase the prices of those things has resulted into his own supporters coming against him. So I think the layman thinks and feel that the best thing that they can do now is maybe to have minimal prices in terms of fuel, and also to ensure that they have what it takes for them to maybe survive on in the country. And Kenya is now so religious. We have seen the other time the Good News International Church, which a pastor ordered Kenyans to starve to death so that they can meet their maker. All of those things are very frustrating. I think it's one of the biggest problems being faced by the William Ruto government, and he's said to face the full hate of his citizens, especially those who elected him and those who did not elect him, because the decision is about to take will definitely have a concomitant effect on every other Kenya into the country. No, it doesn't matter if you are an opposition supporter, if you are an opposition supporter, a ruling party supporter. Now that come into Somalia in East Africa still. In Somalia, dozens of al-Shabab have been killed. According to the Somalia international government base in Mogadishu, they are saying that they killed a dozen of al-Shabab in the northern city of Kismayo. What they are claiming that the al-Shabab bases were being destroyed, most of their weapons seized, and some of those militias have been chased away, and some militants are actually under arrest. They had it. They succeeded through a tip-off by some locals within the country. It is just unfortunate and quite amazing that the situation in Somalia since the 1990s has never come to any stability. And Somalia now is facing the government that is being led by faction, and since then no general election have actually been conducted into Somalia, and the government has been led by faction. The United Nations, places like Kenya, are on a serious attack on several occasions. We have seen Mombasa coming under attack. We have also seen the like of Ethiopia involving, during the time Mrs. Sinai was Prime Minister into Ethiopia. We saw Ethiopia even involving herself into the conflict into Somalia. But since then, Somalia have definitely fallen apart. We have also seen Somaliland breaking away, forming in capital city as Hargeisa. All of those things have never been able to compromise situation. Places like famine, war, and other things are definitely taking place on the country. So it's a sad event, and we are about to see an offshoot of negativities coming on the continent. And finally, we go to Gabon. Gabon's president announced his third term. Umar Bongo has now announced that he's going to run for another third time into the country. In fact, it is very unfortunate that since Gabon became independent, they have only known one person as a president, or one family as a president, the Bongo family. His father ruled Gabon for 40 good years. On his death in 2009, Omar Bongo took over the leadership of the country. From 2009 to 2023, that is 15 good years that he has been ruling the country. Now he is now suffering from stroke. Everybody was expecting that he should step down and allow another person to take over. Unfortunately, he has decided to run for another presidency. So now he's announced his intention to run for the presidency of Gabon in this year. And the opposition now is claiming that the man is not medically fit, since he's suffering from stroke, and allowing somebody who is 54 to lead the country, 64 to lead the country, when his father has actually led the country for 40 good years. He has been in power for another 15 good years, and they still need another mentality. It doesn't mean that it is only the Bongo family who have the inspiration, who have the knowledge, the understandability to lead Gabon. They need also another family to come in. Of course, Jean-Ping disputed the last election, which he claimed that he was the winner. His passport was being seized. He was placed under house arrest, and some time ago even banned to travel. It was only some time ago, after the 5 years ban on him was being lifted, and he was allowed to leave the country. And the current election is raising tension into the country, especially when Umar Bongo is suffering from stroke. He's not physically strong, but he thinks and feels that he has the ability to lead the country. It is selfishness, unscrupulousness, maybe on patriotism of some African brothers. He and his father are now 55 years leading that particular country. Now he's not medically fit, he's suffering from stroke, but he still had the intention to lead the country. It's unfortunate, it's a dastardly act. I think Africans need to record themselves. Now he's actually making a coup d'etat on the country, but nobody knows. The military and other people involved, that is when they will start to condemn. It's been me, Edward Amara, focus on Liberia, West African correspondent, coming to you with the latest development of the continent. Join me on Wednesday, same time, same place, to bring you another latest development on the continent. Thank you, good night.